Rich Like Us is a historical and political fiction novel by Nayantara Sahgal. Set in New Delhi during the chaotic time between 1932 and the mid-1970s, it follows the lives of two female protagonists, Rose and Sonali, and their fight to live in a time of political upheaval and social reorganization. Nayantara Sahgal, born the 10th of May 1927, is an Indian writer who writes in English. She is a member of the Nehru-Gandhi family, the second of the three daughters born to Jawaharlal Nehru's sister, Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit. Rich Like Us takes its title from a brief meeting at the beginning of the novel that Dev and his wife Nishi have with a businessman named Mr. Newman, who reflects that all he has been told teaches him that if the poor of India would do like we do, they'd be rich like us, yet seeing the poverty in the streets in person, he finds this hard to believe. The book's title brings up this question of why the fat of society refuses to trickle down to the masses. This issue affects both protagonists, as Rose continues to question the tactics of her stepson Dev and Sonali sees firsthand the extravagances of the ruling party. Wealth is certainly not portrayed as the way to happiness in the novel, as the elite main characters seem trapped in a web of corruption, power and money from which they both stem. However, the plight of the handless beggar that hangs around Rose's home certainly does not glamorize the lives of the Indian poor. Rich Like Us is a phrase introduced as a question, and continuing as such throughout the novel. Plot summary. Edit. This historical fiction entwines the fate of two upper-class females, Rose, a British immigrant and wife to powerful native businessman Ram, with Sonali, a highly educated young civil servant. The former struggles to find a sense of home in this foreign society, filled with ancient customs, including the sati, and exotic social standards. She is entangled in a three-pronged marriage, as she is the second wife of Ram's. Rose suffers to understand the Indian culture, and its ramifications on the female spirit. As Ram's health deteriorates, she realizes her rights as wife are in question. Dev, Ram's son from his other wife, Mona, schemes to take all Ram's assets by disposing of Rose. In fear, Rose turns to Sonali, her friend and niece. Sonali is an anomaly to the average Indian, aristocratic woman. She deals with the living and working in New Delhi during the political upheaval of the emergency and is divided between two worlds, one representing her ideals and longing for progression and the other that embodies her upper crust, conservative culture. From these two characters branch off numerous other tales, which provide a deep and thorough overview of life for all people during this critical historical period. At root of these stories lies the duplicitous role of women in the dynamic, chaotic, new India of the mid-20th century. Structure. Edit. The structure of Rich Like Us involves a number of chapters that are narrated in turn by a third-person omniscient narrator and the character of Sonali, the chapters moving freely back and forth through the more distant past and the recent past of the story's current action. Sonali tells the reader about the current events of the story, sometimes pausing to read back into the far distant past of her paternal ancestors, while the narration that follows Rose and briefly Nishi focuses on the early years of Rose's marriage to Ram, moving on in chronological progression as though they have only just gone by. The different time periods are kept separate by the barriers of the chapters in the book, but their stories are still told side by side through the text's ability to exist in different planes of time. Major themes. Edit. Political corruption. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, etc. The Prime Minister declares a state of emergency, allowing her to have supreme and autocratic control. During this time the country is in a state of disarray. The wealthy seek to profit, while commoners are crushed by the impending globalization. The government's power grows to such an extent and begins to force men who are low in the caste system to have vasectomies. Political ideology and its repercussions. Ravi embraces communism in his youth and will only accept the exact following of the doctrine. This nearsighted view of politics shapes his future narrow-minded and misguided involvement in the Indian government. Ravi is swept up by the autocratic ideals of a ruler like Indira Gandhi and quickly integrates himself in the current extremely volatile and dangerous regime. Colonialism. India's long history as a British colony has had numerous side effects. Those growing up within this period feel both Indian and British. This novel details the complicated effects colonization has had on this country and its people. Rose, although born and raised in Britain, feels just as much British as Indian, her home since her marriage to Ram over 30 years prior. Sonali, although raised in India, her experiences in the UK while studying and her constant interaction with British people has left her also confused. To whom should she show her allegiance? Women as objects versus people. Both Rose and Sonali engage in external and internal conflict with this distinction. Sonali's past experience has consisted mainly of seeing women in submissive roles that deny their true selves, as when her friend Bimmy gets married. But I was hypnotized by Bimmy's nose ring, the sandal-past dots on her face, eyes downcast, and those manacled hands resting submissively in her red silk lap. This was never Bimmy. 48 Sonali is thrilled to shuck off the chains she feels bound by as a woman when she goes off to Oxford. Rose also feels this conflict raging around and within her. As Ram's second wife, she will have very few rights when he dies, and may end up like just another piece of furniture for Dev to throw away. She also struggles within herself about whether the role she has chosen fits her, whether she has become submissive to Ram's will and should not have settled for second wife. Wealth's ties to power. This connection seems inevitable, even inseparable, in the novel. The elite have everything: the good Scotch whiskey, food on their tables, even a political regime that will turn a blind eye to certain illegal acts. The poor, however, are likely to be arrested and tortured for the barest hint, even a fabricated hint, of committing any crime against the reigning power. The power of love. This theme asserts itself most prominently through the character of Rose, who loves her husband Ram so dearly that she is willing to leave behind her home and everything she knows in England to take a position she can hardly even justify to herself, his second wife. She is willing to sacrifice everything to be with him. The young Sonali is not any man's bride, but she finds herself unable to stop caring for Ravi Kachru, her childhood friend and later lover. Main characters. Edit. Rose, one of the two main protagonists of the story. She was born and raised in a blue-collar family in London. On encountering Ram at a chocolate shop, she is quickly swept off her feet and leaves with him for India. It is at this juncture that the story truly begins. She recognizes the alien she is among this culture and even within her new house, seeing as she shares a husband with another woman, Mona. Rose's strong convictions, quick wit, and matter-of-fact nature propel her into uncomfortable and threatening situations. She feels lost in this world of constant change, and struggles to understand this culture and herself. Sonali, the other protagonist of the novel, is a young, female Indian civil servant who is struggling to find truth and logic in her ever-changing homeland, India. As part of the elite caste in New Delhi, she grows up without worries but filled with naivete. In her years at Oxford, where she reconnects with Ravi Kachru, a childhood friend, it is with him that her political knowledge blossoms. Ravi's ardor for communism deepens, yet Sonali, despite Ravi's efforts, questions its plausibility. Sonali mentions, "I did admire and envy his commitment, it was so cloudless. But I couldn't understand why we had to keep cutting and pasting Western concepts together and tying ourselves to them forever as if Europe were the center of the universe, and the Bible and Marx were the last word on mankind." 101. This relationship falls apart with their return to India. Ravi involves himself quickly with the ruling party and Sonali becomes a civil servant. Sonali, too, feels lost in this new India, most especially during the emergency, when the autocratic rule once so staunchly despised by Ravi comes to power with his support. Ram, Rose's husband, who is already married to Mona when they wed. His fanciful taste for beautiful finery and European goods cause trouble with the inventory of his shop until Rose is able to convince him to look around for more native materials. He loves Rose, but he also loved Mona, and he also falls head over heels in love with a woman named Marcella during his marriage to Rose. Theirs is an intellectual connection Rose feels powerless to compete with. Much later in their lives, Ram falls critically ill, and he is comatose in the context of the story's present action. Dev, Ram's spoiled son. He is a worrisome boy who grows into a man who has broken no ties to his petulant childhood. He continues to pull teenage pranks, well into middle age, expects to be given everything in life without having to work for it, and most of all he greatly resents his stepmother Rose. He still feels that she is an unwelcome presence in the house, supplanting his mother and causing nothing but trouble with her uninhibited tongue. Rich Like Us follows the intertwined lives of two women, Rose and Sonali, against the backdrop of political turmoil in India during the emergency period of the mid-1970s. Rose is a wealthy British expatriate living in India, who is married to a high-ranking government official. Despite her privileged status, she becomes disillusioned with the corruption and moral decay she witnesses within the ruling elite. As the political situation deteriorates, Rose finds herself drawn into the resistance movement against the government. Sonali, on the other hand, is a lower middle-class Indian woman working as a government clerk. She faces numerous challenges in her personal and professional life, including discrimination and harassment. Despite these obstacles, Sonali remains resilient and determined to improve her circumstances. As the narrative unfolds, Rose and Sonali's lives become increasingly intertwined. Rose becomes a mentor and friend to Sonali, offering her support and guidance. Together, they navigate the complexities of life in a society rife with corruption and oppression. Throughout the novel, the characters grapple with questions of morality, power, and identity. They are forced to confront difficult choices and make sacrifices in the pursuit of their goals. As the political situation in India reaches its climax, Rose and Sonali find themselves on opposite sides of the conflict, testing their friendship and loyalty. In the end, Rich Like Us paints a vivid portrait of India in a time of upheaval, exploring the interconnectedness of individual lives and the broader forces shaping society. It is a story of resilience, courage, and the enduring human spirit in the face of adversity. Rich Like Us explores several themes that are central to the socio-political landscape of India during the emergency period. Here's a critical analysis of some of these themes with examples. Political corruption and power. The novel vividly depicts the rampant corruption within the government and political circles during the emergency. It highlights how those in positions of power exploit their authority for personal gain, often at the expense of the marginalized. For example, Rose's husband, who is a high-ranking government official, engages in corrupt practices to maintain his status and wealth. His actions symbolize the pervasive corruption that permeates Indian society at the time. Gender and social oppression. Rich Like Us offers a nuanced exploration of gender dynamics and social oppression faced by women in Indian society. Sonali's character represents the struggles of working-class women who face discrimination and exploitation in both public and private spheres. She confronts sexual harassment in the workplace and societal expectations that limit her autonomy. Through Sonali's experiences, the novel sheds light on the intersectionality of gender, class, and power dynamics. Resistance and activism. The novel portrays various forms of resistance against authoritarian rule and social injustice. Rose's involvement in the resistance movement exemplifies the courage and determination of individuals who challenge oppressive regimes. However, the novel also underscores the complexities and risks associated with activism, as Rose faces threats and persecution for her political beliefs. Through Rose's character, the novel celebrates the spirit of dissent and resilience in the face of adversity. Identity and belonging. Rich Like Us delves into questions of identity and belonging in the context of a multicultural society. Rose's status as a British expatriate in India complicates her sense of belonging and allegiance. She grapples with her identity as an outsider while also recognizing her privilege within the colonial power structure. Similarly, Sonali's identity as a lower middle-class woman shapes her experiences and aspirations, highlighting the intersections of class, caste, and gender identity. Morality and complicity. The novel raises ethical questions about complicity and moral responsibility in the face of injustice. Characters like Rose's husband and other government officials exemplify the moral compromises made to maintain power and privilege. Rose herself confronts dilemmas about her complicity in a system that perpetuates oppression, leading her to question her own moral integrity. Through these moral quandaries, the novel prompts readers to reflect on the choices individuals make in navigating corrupt and authoritarian environments. In essence, Rich Like Us offers a compelling exploration of these themes through its vivid characters and intricate plot, inviting readers to critically engage with the socio-political realities of India during a tumultuous period in its history. Let's delve deeper into each theme. Political corruption and power. The portrayal of corruption in Rich Like Us extends beyond mere financial malfeasance. It encompasses the abuse of power and privilege for personal gain. For instance, Rose's husband, Harish, leverages his position as a government official not only for monetary enrichment but also for exerting control over others, exemplifying the intertwining of corruption and power dynamics. This theme underscores how corruption corrodes the moral fabric of society and perpetuates inequality, as those in power exploit their positions to maintain dominance. Gender and social oppression. Sonali's experiences highlight the pervasive gender inequalities and social hierarchies that shape the lives of women in India. Her struggles with workplace harassment and societal expectations reflect broader patterns of gender-based discrimination and oppression. Moreover, Sonali's interactions with other female characters, such as her mother-in-law, reveal the internalization of patriarchal norms and the complicity of some women in perpetuating oppressive systems. By foregrounding these issues, the novel prompts readers to confront the entrenched nature of gender inequality and advocate for transformative change. Resistance and activism. Through Rose's involvement in the resistance movement, the novel emphasizes the importance of collective action and grassroots organizing in challenging authoritarian regimes. Rose's journey from apathy to activism illustrates the transformative power of resistance, as she becomes increasingly committed to fighting against injustice. Furthermore, the novel highlights the diversity of resistance tactics employed by different individuals and groups, ranging from clandestine meetings to public protests. This theme underscores the resilience of marginalized communities and the potential for grassroots movements to effect meaningful change. Identity and belonging. The novel interrogates notions of identity and belonging in the context of colonial legacies and post-colonial realities. Rose's ambivalent relationship with India, her adopted homeland, reflects the complexities of cultural identity and diasporic belonging. Similarly, Sonali's navigation of social hierarchies and familial expectations illuminates the multifaceted nature of identity formation in a diverse society. By foregrounding these tensions, the novel invites readers to critically reflect on the fluidity of identity and the ways in which historical legacies continue to shape individual and collective identities. Morality and complicity. The moral dilemmas faced by characters in Rich Like Us prompt readers to examine the ethical dimensions of complicity and resistance in the face of injustice. Rose's internal conflict, as she grapples with her complicity in her husband's corrupt activities, raises questions about individual responsibility and moral integrity. Similarly, the choices made by other characters, such as government officials who turn a blind eye to corruption, highlight the moral compromises often required for self-preservation. This theme underscores the complexities of navigating moral terrain in contexts of systemic oppression and the imperative of collective action in upholding ethical principles. By delving into these themes with greater depth, Rich Like Us offers a nuanced portrayal of Indian society during a turbulent period of political upheaval, inviting readers to critically engage with the complexities of power, privilege, and resistance. Let's discuss some key characters from Rich Like Us, along with examples of their roles and development in the novel. Rose Vaness. Rose is a wealthy British expatriate living in India. Initially portrayed as somewhat aloof and detached from the political realities of India, Rose undergoes a transformation as she becomes increasingly involved in the resistance movement against the government. Her journey from apathy to activism highlights the awakening of social consciousness and the moral imperative to resist oppression. For example, Rose's decision to shelter and support activists despite the risks to her own safety demonstrates her commitment to principles of justice and solidarity. Sonali Gokhale. Sonali is a lower-middle-class Indian woman working as a government clerk. Through Sonali's character, the novel explores the struggles faced by working-class women in a society rife with gender inequality and social oppression. Sonali's resilience and determination to improve her circumstances despite facing numerous obstacles exemplify the agency of marginalized individuals in asserting their rights and dignity. For instance, Sonali's efforts to pursue education and challenge discriminatory practices in the workplace reflect her commitment to self-empowerment and social justice. Harish Vaness. Harish is Rose's husband and a high-ranking government official. His character epitomizes the corrupt and morally bankrupt elite who exploit their positions of power for personal gain. Harish's involvement in corrupt practices and his callous disregard for the suffering of others underscore the corrosive effects of unchecked power and privilege. For example, Harish's manipulation of government resources for his own benefit and his complicity in suppressing dissent highlight the moral bankruptcy of the ruling class and their role in perpetuating systemic injustice. Nirmal Kumar. Nirmal is a political activist and friend of Rose who becomes involved in the resistance movement against the government. His character represents the idealism and courage of those who risk their lives to fight for justice and freedom. Nirmal's unwavering commitment to the cause of social justice inspires others to join the struggle against oppression. For instance, Nirmal's leadership in organizing protests and disseminating information clandestinely demonstrates his strategic acumen and moral clarity in the face of adversity. Rajubai. Rajubai is a street vendor and informant for the government who becomes entangled in the political machinations of the ruling elite. His character exemplifies the complexities of survival in a society marked by pervasive surveillance and coercion. Rajubai's moral ambiguity and shifting loyalties underscore the ethical dilemmas faced by individuals navigating oppressive systems. For example, Rajubai's betrayal of his fellow activists for personal gain highlights the compromises often required for survival in contexts of political repression. These characters, among others, contribute to the rich tapestry of Rich Like Us, offering insights into the complexities of power, privilege, and resistance in a society marked by political turmoil and social inequality. Through their interactions and experiences, the novel invites readers to critically engage with the moral and ethical dimensions of individual and collective agency in the pursuit of justice and freedom. Let's delve into additional characters from Rich Like Us and their significance in the novel. Indira Gandhi. While not a character in the traditional sense, Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India during the emergency period, looms large over the narrative. Her authoritarian rule and the declaration of emergency serve as the backdrop against which the characters' lives unfold. The portrayal of Gandhi's regime underscores the erosion of democratic norms and the consolidation of power in the hands of a single leader. Through references to Gandhi's speeches and policies, the novel critiques the abuse of executive authority and the suppression of dissent in the name of national security. Mr. and Mrs. Gokhale. Sonali's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gokhale, embody the aspirations and struggles of the working-class family. Mr. Gokhale's role as a factory worker and Mrs. Gokhale's domestic responsibilities highlight the gendered division of labor and economic precarity faced by many families in India. Their interactions with Sonali reflect the intergenerational tensions and expectations surrounding education, marriage, and social mobility. Through the Gokhale family, the novel explores the complexities of familial relationships and the impact of social and economic factors on individual agency. Kanchan. Kanchan is Sonali's friend and confidant, who works as a nurse. Her character provides insight into the experiences of working-class women in professions typically associated with caregiving and service. Kanchan's interactions with Sonali offer moments of camaraderie and solidarity amidst adversity. Additionally, Kanchan's involvement in the resistance movement highlights the diverse backgrounds and motivations of those who participate in acts of dissent. Through Kanchan's character, the novel underscores the importance of collective action and mutual support in challenging oppressive systems. Sethji. Sethji is a wealthy businessman and political patron who wields considerable influence behind the scenes. His character represents the collusion between economic and political elites in perpetuating corruption and injustice. Sethji's interactions with government officials and activists reveal the extent of his power and the impunity with which he operates. Furthermore, Sethji's exploitation of vulnerable individuals, such as Rajubai, exemplifies the predatory nature of capitalism and the moral bankruptcy of the ruling class. Through Sethji's character, the novel critiques the nexus of power and privilege that perpetuates inequality and exploitation in society. Shakuntala. Shakuntala is a domestic worker employed by Rose and Harish Vaness. Her character offers a glimpse into the lives of marginalized women who labor in invisible and undervalued roles within the household. Shakuntala's experiences of exploitation and abuse highlight the intersecting oppressions of gender, class, and caste. Furthermore, Shakuntala's interactions with Rose and Sonali illuminate the complexities of interpersonal relationships across social divides. Through Shakuntala's character, the novel underscores the systemic injustices embedded within everyday interactions and the imperative of solidarity across social boundaries. These characters, along with those previously mentioned, contribute to the multifaceted portrayal of Indian society during a period of political upheaval and social change. Through their diverse experiences and perspectives, Rich Like Us offers a nuanced exploration of power dynamics, social inequality, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Let's critically examine the characters of Rich Like Us and their significance within the novel. Rose Vaness. While Rose's transformation from apathy to activism serves as a central narrative arc, some critics argue that her character's evolution may seem somewhat idealized or unrealistic. Rose's privileged background and initial detachment from the political realities of India could be seen as a barrier to her sudden immersion in the resistance movement. However, her character also represents the potential for personal growth and moral awakening, challenging readers to reconsider their own complicity in systems of oppression. Sonali Gokhale. Sonali's character is praised for its complexity and authenticity, offering a nuanced portrayal of the struggles faced by working-class women in India. Her resilience and determination to improve her circumstances resonate with readers, highlighting the agency of marginalized individuals in asserting their rights. However, some critics argue that Sonali's character may perpetuate stereotypes of the virtuous poor, potentially oversimplifying the complexities of class and gender dynamics in Indian society. Harish Vaness. Harish's character serves as a compelling antagonist, embodying the corruption and moral bankruptcy of the ruling elite. His actions and motivations are critiqued for their lack of nuance, potentially undermining the novel's exploration of power dynamics and ethical dilemmas. However, Harish also symbolizes the systemic nature of corruption and oppression, prompting readers to confront uncomfortable truths about the complicity of those in positions of authority. Nirmal Kumar. Nirmal's character is celebrated for his unwavering commitment to the resistance movement and his moral clarity in the face of adversity. However, some critics argue that his portrayal may border on the archetype of the noble activist, potentially overlooking the complexities of political engagement and strategic decision-making. Nevertheless, Nirmal's character serves as a catalyst for change, inspiring others to join the struggle against oppression and injustice. Rajubai. Rajubai's character is lauded for its ambiguity and moral complexity, offering a nuanced exploration of survival strategies in a society marked by pervasive surveillance and coercion. His shifting loyalties and opportunistic behavior challenge readers' perceptions of right and wrong, prompting reflection on the moral compromises often required for self-preservation. However, Rajubai's character may also reinforce stereotypes of the self-serving informant, potentially overlooking the structural constraints that shape individual choices. In conclusion, while the characters of Rich Like Us offer rich insights into the complexities of Indian society during the emergency period, their portrayal may elicit diverse interpretations and critical perspectives. By critically examining the characters and their significance within the novel, readers can engage more deeply with the themes of power, privilege, and resistance, ultimately enriching their understanding of the socio-political realities of the time. Rich Like Us holds significant relevance and has left a lasting legacy due to its exploration of socio-political themes and its impact on Indian literature. Here's a breakdown of its significance, relevance, legacy, contribution, and impact. Significance and relevance. The novel provides a compelling portrayal of India during the emergency period, shedding light on the political turmoil, corruption, and social injustice prevalent at the time. Its exploration of themes such as political corruption, gender inequality, and resistance remains relevant in contemporary discourse, resonating with readers grappling with similar issues globally. Through its vivid characters and intricate plot, the novel offers insights into the complexities of power dynamics, privilege, and moral dilemmas, prompting readers to critically engage with the socio-political realities of the era. Legacy. Rich Like Us has left a lasting legacy in Indian literature, earning acclaim for its insightful commentary on Indian society and politics. The novel's recognition, including the Sahitya Akademi Award, has solidified its place as a significant work in Indian literature, ensuring its enduring relevance and influence. Its legacy extends beyond its initial publication, with subsequent generations of readers continuing to discover and engage with its themes and characters. Contribution. Nayantara Sahgal's novel contributes to a deeper understanding of Indian history and society during the emergency period, providing a literary lens through which to explore complex political and social dynamics. Its nuanced portrayal of characters from diverse backgrounds adds depth and authenticity to the narrative, enriching readers' understanding of the human experience amidst political upheaval. Rich Like Us contributes to the broader literary canon by addressing universal themes of power, corruption, and resistance, transcending its specific historical context to resonate with readers across cultures and generations. Impact. The novel has had a profound impact on readers, prompting critical reflection on issues of governance, ethics, and social justice. Its depiction of female characters navigating patriarchal structures and fighting for agency has resonated with feminist readers, sparking discussions about gender inequality and women's empowerment. Rich Like Us has inspired subsequent works of literature and scholarship, contributing to ongoing conversations about democracy, human rights, and the role of literature in social change. In summary, Rich Like Us stands as a significant literary achievement, offering profound insights into the socio-political landscape of India during the emergency period. Its enduring relevance, legacy, contribution, and impact underscore its importance in Indian literature and its continued resonance with readers around the world. Let's examine various aspects of Rich Like Us by Nayantara Sahgal. Setting. The novel is primarily set in India during the mid-1970s, against the backdrop of the emergency declared by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. The settings range from urban spaces like New Delhi to rural areas, providing a panoramic view of Indian society during the tumultuous period. Tone. The tone of the novel is often somber and reflective, reflecting the gravity of the political and social issues addressed. There's a sense of urgency and tension as characters navigate the oppressive political climate and personal challenges. Writing style. Nayantara Sahgal employs a sophisticated writing style characterized by rich imagery, vivid descriptions, and introspective prose. The narrative is intricately crafted, with attention to detail in character development and thematic exploration. Sahgal's prose is both evocative and incisive, drawing readers into the complexities of Indian society and politics. Genre. Rich Like Us can be classified as a political novel and a work of literary fiction. While it addresses political themes, including corruption and resistance, it also delves into the personal lives and relationships of its characters, adding depth and nuance to the narrative. Narrative technique. The novel employs a multi-plot narrative technique, weaving together the stories of various characters from different backgrounds. The use of multiple perspectives allows for a comprehensive exploration of the socio-political landscape of India during the emergency. Flashbacks and introspective passages provide insight into characters' motivations and backstories, enriching the narrative texture. Plot. The plot unfolds gradually, with multiple storylines intersecting and converging as the novel progresses. Themes of corruption, resistance, and personal agency drive the plot forward, culminating in moments of tension and revelation. The plot is both character-driven and thematically rich, offering layers of meaning and interpretation for readers to unpack. Dialogue. Dialogue is used effectively to reveal character traits, advance the plot, and explore thematic concerns. Conversations between characters are often charged with emotion and subtext, reflecting the complexities of their relationships and the larger social context. The dialogue captures the cadences of everyday speech, lending authenticity to the characters and their interactions. Structure. The novel follows a nonlinear structure, moving back and forth in time to explore different facets of the characters' lives and experiences. Each chapter is carefully constructed to advance the plot and develop the themes, with a balance of exposition, action, and reflection. The structure of the novel mirrors the fragmented nature of memory and consciousness, inviting readers to piece together the larger narrative puzzle. Overall, Rich Like Us showcases Nayantara Sahgal's mastery of storytelling and her ability to engage with complex themes in a compelling and thought-provoking manner. Nayantara Sahgal, born on May 10, 1927, is an acclaimed Indian author known for her insightful exploration of social and political themes in her writing. She comes from a distinguished family. Her mother, Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit, was an Indian diplomat and politician, and her uncle, Jawaharlal Nehru, was the first Prime Minister of independent India. Sahgal's literary career spans several decades, during which she has made significant contributions to Indian literature and public discourse. Features of Nayantara Sahgal's writing. Social and political commentary. Sahgal's works often serve as a lens through which she critiques the socio-political landscape of India. She explores themes such as corruption, authoritarianism, communalism, and gender inequality, offering incisive commentary on contemporary issues. Complex characters. Sahgal's characters are often multidimensional, grappling with personal dilemmas while navigating larger societal forces. She presents characters from diverse backgrounds and perspectives, allowing readers to empathize with their struggles and aspirations. Rich prose. Sahgal's writing style is marked by elegant prose, rich imagery, and nuanced storytelling. She crafts vivid descriptions and evocative scenes, drawing readers into the worlds she creates. Feminist perspective. As a feminist writer, Sahgal often highlights the experiences of women and the challenges they face in patriarchal societies. She champions women's rights and agency, portraying female characters who defy societal norms and assert their autonomy. Historical context. Sahgal's works are often situated within specific historical contexts, providing readers with insights into key moments in Indian history. Through her fiction, she sheds light on the complexities of nation-building, democracy, and social change. Contribution to literature. Pioneering voice. Sahgal is regarded as one of the pioneering voices in Indian English literature. Her early works, including A Time to Be Happy, 1958, and This Time of Morning, 1965, established her reputation as a writer of depth and sensitivity. Exploration of identity. Sahgal's novels delve into questions of identity, belonging, and cultural heritage. She interrogates the tensions between tradition and modernity, colonial legacies, and the complexities of Indian identity in a rapidly changing world. Political engagement. Beyond her literary achievements, Sahgal has been actively engaged in political and social activism throughout her life. She has spoken out against censorship, religious intolerance, and attacks on freedom of expression, embodying the principles of democracy and dissent she champions in her writing. Recognition and awards. Sahgal's contributions to literature have been recognized with numerous awards and honors, including the Sahitya Akademi Award for her novel, Rich Like Us, 1985. She has also been conferred with the Padma Bhushan, one of India's highest civilian honors, for her distinguished service in the field of literature and education. Overall, Nayantara Sahgal's writing exemplifies the power of literature to provoke thought, inspire change, and illuminate the human condition. Through her novels, essays, and activism, she continues to be a voice for justice, democracy, and the enduring values of pluralism and tolerance.